for these hearings, seeking for answers directly from the leadership of the county. I don't think it is fair, Governor, for you to just tell the people of Nairobi that you had traveled. All these people, I can assure you, Sakaja, the Governor Sakaja knows all these leaders, all of them individually. And they are the ones who are disappointed. For me, really, I don't mind, because as you know, I don't live in any of those estates. So we bring these matters before the Senate, not on our own behalf, but on behalf of these people. And they are the people who have been disappointed, and they are the people to whom you owe an apology for not showing up. You say that you showed up to the Senate last week, but that was for a selfish mission, because governors in this country only find use for the Senate when they are coming there to ask us to support them when they are looking for more resources for counties. You were there, and I watched it, to present your case for 450 billion shillings that the Council of Governors is pushing. That's the only time you prioritize the Senate. That's the only time you prioritize parliamentary business. So for me, really, Chair, my disappointment is expressed not on my behalf, but on behalf of the people of Nairobi who are seeking answers from you. And it is not enough for you to just tell people you are traveled. Many of these people will never get an opportunity to travel to those counties or countries that you travel when you're supposed to prioritize parliamentary business, as is the law. So, Mr. Chairman, for me, this is why there's a conversation actually, and Governor will be aware, to enhance the penalty for people who fail to appear before parliamentary committees. That amendment has been triggered by governors like yourself. That now we feel this 500,000 shillings, especially for governors in cities, it is peanuts for you. That is just the ticket from here to Johannesburg and back. It is not money. That is not a motivation, Chairman, for people to show up before these committees. So we are hoping that in addition to the enhancement of the fine as has been proposed before the Senate now, Parliament now needs powers to arrest people. Because this, Chairman, we were with you. The leaders of these estates were asking us, does the Senate not have powers to wait for the governor at the airport and bring him before the committee? I'm happy to report that that discussion is ongoing, and I'm hoping that members of the Senate will support that amendment, that we should be able to arrest people who refuse to appear before the committee and bring them before the chairs of those committees. I thank you, Chair.
Chair, I am a former senator. I've been a member of parliament. I know the position of parliament. I am always available to come to committees. Last week I was in the Senate. Next week I'm in the Senate. It's just the timing of those meetings. Also, this is an issue that I've dealt with. First of all, when I was the senator of Nairobi, many of these leaders here will tell you they've met me before. And so it's not a matter that I would not want to have addressed, Chair. And so that is why I paid the fine, and I'm always willing and happy to come to the Senate as a former senator.
Okay. Members, would you?
I can also confirm that when he was senator, he used to take the work of the Senate extremely seriously. In fact, I remember one point, he was bragging on the floor. That was the best performing chair of committees, and that if you bring a matter to him, within a record 14 days, the matter will be processed through the ministries, and the committee will be furnished with responses to statements. That I can confirm, because I know I dealt with him on a very sensitive matter on the payment of former councillors. A very difficult conversation with three ministries: the Ministry of Labour, Ministry of Devolution, and the Treasury. And we cracked it, and we were able to get something for former councillors. Unfortunately, they have not been paid to date, but we did our work. So when I see now Governor Sakaja, who I must also declare as my friend, being called to a committee of the Senate, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and he's appearing. Chair, I do believe, and this is a personal conviction, that some of us seated here, tomorrow will be seated where he's sitting, as governors of our respective counties. I don't know what happens when senators become governors. I wish it doesn't happen to me at all. Because this chair here would also want to have some bragging rights on the floor that I have processed all the statements that came to my committee. But without the cooperation of governors and cabinet secretaries, that work will not be done. Just to go on record to say, yes, my friend, my brother's governor, Senator Governor Sakaja, this committee is disappointed. Because then that pace, if it is set, and then it becomes the norm with other governors, it will become very difficult for committees of parliament, including the Senate, to process the works that are brought before them. But I'm happy you're here, then we can have this conversation. I thank you, Chair.
Senator Sifuna? Or maybe Senator Chute? Okay, Senator Sifuna then.
Yeah, Chair, let me first of all join my colleague Senator Wambua in expressing that disappointment. And I do not do that on my own behalf.
That is a procedure if witness fails to appear. And the section 19.1 says, where a witness summoned does not appear, or appears but fails to satisfy the relevant House of Parliament or committee, the relevant House or committee may impose upon the witness such a fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings, having regard to the witness' condition in life and all the circumstances of the case. And 2 says that a person may pay the fine under subsection 1 to the clerk of the county relevant house. Now, just to bring the committee to speed, after having invited the governor of Nairobi to this committee severally, and him not appearing before the committee, this committee resolved to execute that section of the law, and the governor was fined 500,000. It's good to tell this committee again that the governor has since paid the 500,000, and that money is with the Senate, and the check, as it is in one of our documents here, was a banker's check. But nevertheless, even after that has been said, I think it's also good for the governor to explain to the committee for us to understand the reasons behind not appearing before this committee several times to discuss this issue of Nairobi estates. Governor.
Thank you, Chair.
I'm sorry, kwanza nataka kuomba msamaha kidogo kwa kuchelewa kuweza kufika, kwa sababu sio kadri yangu kufika kwa mkutano kama nimechelewa. Nilikuwa kule Senate, kwa ile tunaita Senate House Business Committee, ndio nimeweza kuchelewa kidogo, mtanisamehe. Pengine kuongea kwa kifupi zaidi, ni furaha kumuona ndugu yangu Sakaja pale Saks, na yote yaliyosemwa na wenzangu nafikiri mimi nakubaliana nayo, ikiwa wameongea, hata kama nilikuwa siko, lakini nafikiri yale ndio manunguniko ambayo tulikuwa nayo. Cha muhimu zaidi ni kwamba kamati za bunge ndio actually zinaendesha biashara ya bunge, na ndio zinasikiza matakwa ya wale walio na malalamishi ndani ya bunge, wakisema kwamba wanataka wasaidiwe ili kuweza kutekeleza wajibu wa zile shida ambazo wako nazo. Kwa hiyo nikizingatia kwamba ndugu yangu Johnson ulikuwa mwenyekiti wa Labour, na unajua vile shida ambazo tulikuwa tunazipata wakati ule mimi nikiwa katika kamati ya hiyo Labour, ya kwamba ikiwa kama mtu tumemhitaji hajakuja, huwa imeleta shida sana, kwa sababu hakuna jambo lolote linaweza kufanywa na bunge ikiwa kamati yake haiwezi kutekeleza wajibu wake wa yule mtu kuweza kufika kwa mkutano. Kwa hiyo jambo tu mimi naweza kusema ni kwamba ningesisitiza, ijapokuwa sisi tumekuwa a bit disappointed, lakini ningesisitiza kwamba katika mikutano, ikiwa tutakuhitaji, ingekuchukue muda na uweze kuona kwamba bunge ni kitu muhimu. Si rahisi sana kwamba tuweze kuambia lipa pesa hizi, hiyo si kitu. Na mimi naelewa kabisa kwamba si kitu kwako. Sio kwamba ulikuwa sasa uko governor, hata ulipokuwa senator hiyo ilikuwa si kitu kwako. Lakini tu ni kwamba ni muhimu kutekeleza wajibu, ukiitwa na bunge ufike, na kama kuna matatizo ya wananchi, najua una deal na Nairobi, na Nairobi ndio city ambayo hakuna town kubwa ama hakuna mji mkubwa katika Kenya nzima kuliko, na najua kadri ya hivyo ndio sababu uko na shughuli nyingi sana. Lakini cha muhimu ni kwamba ukiitwa na bunge ni lazima tafadhali uone kwamba umefika, kama vile ulivyokuwa chairman ulikuwa ukiita watu na ulikuwa unataka watu wafike mbele ya kikao cha bunge ili waweze kujibu maswali. Asante.
First of all, Senator Wambua, I was never bragging in the House that I was the best chair. I was rated the best by Mzalendo and other organizations. And I take parliamentary work very seriously. And so I just happen not to have been around in those circumstances. As the Senator of Nairobi has said, these leaders are known to me. Some we speak to. I respect their time. I don't choose which committee to come to or which one not to come to, you know. And I must correct what the Senator of Nairobi is saying, that we come here on our own interest. Money for counties is not our own interest. It is for the people that we represent. In fact, the work of the Senate is to ensure we are well-resourced. And not only was I there for that meeting with the Finance Committee, I was meeting the Public Investments Committee as well a week ago or so on audit. Yeah. So it is not about my own interest. He's also said on the record that I know he doesn't live in those houses. I don't know where you live. I'm not sure enough. I don't know whether you live there or not. So just for the record. Chairman, I've been a chair of committees for 10 years. In the National Assembly, I chaired the first joint committee of both National Assembly and Senate on cohesion and equal opportunities. I've chaired the Committee of Labor. I've chaired the Committee of Security. The place of the Senate, of Parliament, is very well known to me. You are the representatives of the people, and I take it very seriously. Chairman, it happens that there could be scheduling issues, and that's why I've apologized and paid, and not just to the committee, to these people, who I respect very much. They're the people who elected me to be senator, they're the people who elected me to be governor, and I will always be available for them. And so I think we can, if there's anything further on that, Chair, I'll be happy to answer, if you want any more evidence of that. But I've really pushed for, in fact, if you look at the Hansard, for enhancement, not just of fines, but of the powers of Senate. I don't know whether you should arrest people, but I think I have encouraged even my colleagues to cooperate with the Senate, with the National Assembly, with Parliament. I remember the former president, Mwai Kibaki. I remember when I used to work in the Treasury, when he'd call a minister to State House and the minister says, no, I've been called to the Parliament, he tells them, please run there first and deal with Parliament, because Parliament represents the sovereignty of the people. So let it go on record that I do recognize and respect the place of Parliament as representative of the people, and that is why I've come with everyone who is required on this matter. Though it's not the procedure, Chair, and this is maybe off the record, I think sometimes proper engagement, sometimes even back channeling works. You know, of course, there's official ways of doing it, but where I found what Senator Wambua is saying, the examples he gave, the reason we're able to succeed on that is what we were able also to do, you know, just directly. But I'm very happy to come every time you call me, and I profusely and deeply apologize to the people of Nairobi for not having come on those two or so instances.
Okay. So that I can put that this section of discussion to rest, since you have paid the fine and you're here, but it's also good to understand that this matter of this estates in Nairobi came to this committee on 6th June